the information and all the receipts to verify the information I'm going to show you, let's first discuss what is a hurricane and how they're formed. That's a hurricane. Notice it, it's out in the middle of the ocean. How are they formed? Hurricanes being formed as tropical disturbances in areas of the ocean that are warmer with temperatures of at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit. These disturbances are because of low pressure caused by the warm sea. If the ocean temperature continues rising, a storm forms. The speed of the storm may vary, but when it reaches 38 miles, it becomes a tropical depression. The tropical depression gradually develops into a tropical storm and acquires a name when it reaches wind speeds of 39 miles an hour. When the storm sustains wind speeds of 74 miles an hour, it's declared a hurricane. Hurricanes produce a staggering amount of energy by absorbing the moist and warm ocean air and releasing it through condensation during thunderstorms. Hurricanes revolve around a calm, low-pressure center, or the eye, that can be 20 to 30 miles wide. The spinning part of the hurricane is known as the eye wall, and it's responsible for the strong winds and rain. This is a map, as you can see, and Asheville, North Carolina is at 2,200 plus feet above sea level. So it's up there. It's almost a half a mile above sea level. And it's also a 6 hour and 29 minute or 398 mile drive away from the ocean. I don't care what new science has to say. Science has shown that the reason we get hurricanes in Boston is because we're on the ocean. The reason Florida gets hurricanes in hurricane season is because they're surrounded by the ocean. The reason that Charlestown, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, Norfolk, Philadelphia, New York sometimes experience hurricanes is because they're on the ocean. And as you can see, eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina are not near the ocean whatsoever at all. So, what am I saying here? Well, I'm going to say that this storm was steered and manipulated exactly like Hurricane Helene in 1958 was. Oddly enough, this storm attained hurricane strength on September 26, and conditions became increasingly favorable for a tropical cyclone development. And guess where it landed? Yeah, same thing, same time, except in this storm, the military was experimenting by dropping dry ice in this to see if they could anger or control or steer the storm in a certain way. Well, that was back in 1958, and let me explain something to you right now. Times have changed and technology has changed, and your government has been working on how to own the weather in 2025, 2 months, my entire life. And this is the entire playbook. I've been passing this playbook around for time immemorial, and people just don't seem to care. I'll leave links to it below, but the government absolutely, without a doubt, can control the weather because it is the biggest weapon, because it gives them plausible deniability, because climate change, another absolute hoax. This, my friends, is climate change. It's the government using the weather to do their dirty work. Let me explain. I started out on YouTube over 14 years ago, and what I was doing was simply pointing a camera at the sky and asking if anybody else noticed anything. Good morning, YouTube. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. Logan Airport is right over there. And here's a fella laying down quite a thick chemtrail right now. Look at that, huh? Good stuff. And the best part about today is right over Boston, there's actually 5 jets doing coordinated skywriting. And this big fella right here is going to fly right through their field. Right through it. The weird thing is the skywriting, you can barely see it. It just keeps dissipating. Unlike this stuff, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, look at that. Can you actually see the airplane flying about the same height as the chemtrailers? See, whatever the skywriters were using, they probably should have used this stuff that whomever is using, because it lasts and lasts and lasts for hours. So you get my point. I've been doing this a long time, and this is exactly how I started. I've been following every single solitary thing they've been doing, and they've been doing a lot. From Bill Gates wanting to dim the sun or spray in front of the sky, to dim out the sun to save us from climate change, to the hundreds of patents that go back to 1891 that talk about messing, controlling, and screwing with the weather. Now, these are the same guys that can't balance the national debt. They can't even say a speech. They can't even do a debate for president. But these guys have been at this for a long, long time, and they're going to dim the sun and save us all. Well, let me tell you a secret. They have been dimming the sun. They have been dimming the sun. It's no secret, but they fight back against us, and on the mainstream news, they tell you things like this is simply condensation from an airplane, etc., etc., etc. Well, sir, I beg to differ. Why would they want to use the weather in Asheville, North Carolina? What's so special about Asheville? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's the answer.
Weather manipulation, weather modification is not a conspiracy theory. They have told us time and time again, and by they, I am talking about the powers that be, but scientists, researchers, and so forth have told us time and time again they can manipulate the weather. They can create very powerful storms, monsters. The government has been manipulating the weather ever since the 1930s, if not before then, under such projects like Operation Storm Fury and Operation Cirrus. So it's definitely no secret. Going back to weather manipulation, we actually have something rather interesting when it comes to North Carolina Hurricane Helene and a particular agreement. Now, for those not aware, lithium batteries have been really making their rounds in the news lately. Here in the United States, where I'm from, certain items with lithium inside have been catching on fire. Then I believe there was a port that had cases of lithium, which also caught on fire. So, like I said, we have been really hearing a lot about lithium lately. You see, North Carolina has a lot of lithium deposits. Do you see where I'm going at here? There is a corporation that really wants these lithium deposits. That corporation is called Albemarle Corporation. Now, Albemarle is owned by both BlackRock and Vanguard. That shouldn't be very surprising because BlackRock and Vanguard have their hands in everything.
So speaking of BlackRock, here's a fun fact. Both of the people involved in allegedly trying to shoot Donald Trump were both tied to BlackRock.
Yep.
And I don't care what the mainstream media says, like this, MSN. No, they did not appear in BlackRock commercials.
Oh my gosh.
Are you sure? Because we, the internet detectives, the real news, the ones that these guys are consistently trying to silence forever, we found all of this. Just a fun fact.
Amen.
Both of the people involved in taking a shot or trying to take a shot at Donald Trump